Day 394, 6 days till it's 400 days of doing this. Lockdown learning, cab isolation, Ollie blogs, whatever you want to call it. Don't forget one of the sprayers. Keep watching, keep subscribing, and keep liking. Coming up today, I saw the headstock out on that Merlo. Easier job than I thought it was going to be. And it's a battle of the two little tiny loaders. We'll see which is the best. Just on Project Merlo, I'm sorting out these breathers because they've corroded up and they're not free inside. So I've took one off the other side, took it apart, and basically it's all corroded in there. And then this little ball that sits inside that goes up and down in there are jammed. And then there's a spring and a cap. So I've took it apart, freed it all off and put it back together. You can buy them, but I couldn't find any online, so I just thought I'd mess around and see if I could just free them off and oil them up. Because otherwise the heat builds up in the hub when it's running, and because it's got nowhere to breathe the air out when it expands, it blows the oil seal out and then makes the hubs leak. Yeah, I've took this one off, totally corroded around the cap. It should sort of breathe around that bit there, if you can see. So I'll free that off in the vise so it looks a bit more like that one. Pull the cap off now, little spring inside. And behind that's a little ball that'll be jammed in, so I'll knock that out with a punch. This has just arrived in the post. It's off Fent. I believe it's beer, because they told me it was on the way, and it's a nice fancy bottle that I can use again. So thank you, Fent. I don't know whether they're sending it to all the customers, or just the ones that have bought a tractor, or maybe just the ones that have bought a tractor and never been to the factory. Look at that, they'll both load it, little and large. I'm going to attempt now to take that slack up out of there on this Merlo carriage, because that's the new pin and the slack's terrible. I'll put the bushes in it now and see what it looks like. See, and I'm going to try and make a collar out of that tube. I've got the plastic bushing now, and you can see I can get my finger in the wires that bad. It's okay at the bottom. It's just the top really that's worn, where the ram pushes. So I'm going to, like I say, try and get some of this tube in here and cut a slither and see if I can make some sort of packer for in it. Right, as you can see, I've cut this tube down into a slither and tapered the ends, hammered it in, hammered the spur bit in there, and now I'll fill all that with weld. And this pin now is absolutely like solid. And if you look, zoom back out, it's tight now. It just nicely turns, he says. Anyway, it does. When it's greased, at least it will anyway. And so that's took all the slack out. Like I say, fill it all with weld. Really wants drilling a bit in there as well. Got the bushes in now. I'm just going to knock some of these in to take up some of the slack. There's something in there, and then weld it all up solid. Should be pretty round then. It's all expertly shimmed up now. I'll just flood that with weld and hopefully it'll do. Welded all that up now. I've welded inside there, but there's a few burrs, so I'm just going to rub them out with this now on the airline. Pretty pleased with how that's turned out now. That bush just slides in and out perfect. Looks good. A little bit there, but it don't matter. This is where the weight is, and that's all beefed up now. Just going to drill out, because obviously the sleeve in there goes past with the grease nipple, so I'm just going to drill back through so the grease nipple will still work. Adam isn't taking the ram to slaughter just yet. He's just moving that old cattle trailer out the field. Just homing this hole out a little bit bigger because it's a bit small for the bush to go in. Got the air thing on. So that's worth anything on eBay for that. Can't make them like that anymore. Blow that tyre up. Bale sledge. Kids won't know what that is. Adam's just taking it round now. It's all bushed up, ready. Look at that. Perfect. Then my hydraulic belts that drive the hydraulic pump have just come off. And we only fixed that this morning because the circlip had come out and that pulley had walked over, and then now it's thrown the belts off. I think, no, that's the opposite way around. You know how it was this morning? See how it's shiny and then it's not. We'll try it anyway, see what happens. Yeah. This is all back together now, and if you look, there's literally zero. I'll try and get my leg underneath, you can see. There's no play at all whatsoever in it. That's all worked. Just needs the tyres going on the rims. He said he was coming this afternoon, he's not been here yet. Get the tyres on the rims. Breathers are sorted. There's just the exhaust ready then to do. And then obviously paint it. Biomass going out. Empty wagon coming in for biomass. Big trailers there. Adam's just been putting the brackets on this bucket that Andrew got off a cat skid steer. It's going on his 403, is it? JCB. So he's tacked it on, tried it, it's working. So he's welded it all up now, and I'll try it again in a minute. Quick quiz question for you. This pipe on the drill, there's a new one. We have a spur, we always carry a spur. Because we had, well, I don't know, in 4 years, we've had one of them bolts fall out and we've lost one. Anyway, we've now lost two. Well, we haven't. We've lost one years ago and then we've lost one this last season. So we've got a new one and got a spur. How much do you think that pipe is? It's a piece of metal. Bent to a funny angle twice. A little tiny bracket on, off John Deere. Have a guess and see what you think. Loading shovels everywhere. Telehandlers, JCBs, Hyundais. Compare the height difference of these two. That's what the extra 10 grand gets you. Put your bucket flat. Other way, flat. Right. So now I think you need that extra bit. So that lifts to 4.2 metres. This lifts to about, well, how high does it go? 3. How high does it go? 3 metres. About 3 metres. When they put them bucket to bucket, the JCB's a bit longer. Obviously, we went the turning circle on them. JCB was like 4 inches shorter, but it has an overhang on the back. The width is pretty much the same. If anything, I think the Wacker NEUSON's about 2 inches wider, but it obviously depends on the tyres you have on both of them. Cab on the JCB is obviously a lot nicer and a lot bigger. Cab on this is quite cramped and tiny, but it's also quite easy to get in because it's obviously very low down. And obviously the JCB is faster across the yard, but this can do a bit more because it can load wagons and stuff. Just joint effort, shoving up the road planings, just to play and see what we can do. Some logs there if anyone wants any cake stands. I'm losing out here because I'm doing it with one hand. They both sort of pile them up, something similar. Wacker NEUSON just has the edge. Yeah, I've just checked on the weighbridge. It does actually hold a ton of road planings. So this weighs 2.7 tons, and I think Andrew's weighs 2.9 tons. The electric board have been having a tidy up and they've kindly given me some huge telegraph poles. They're alright for using the gate post, but this one's a bit big. Andrew's been having a big tidy up with a little JCB. It's all ready now for chipping in the morning. Put some new belts on the chipper. That's ready to go. I don't know if you remember, but we had the brush on the JCB the other day and it didn't really like it. It sort of like pitched and you couldn't really steer. Well, it seems to work okay on this thing. I'm just obviously brushing up now with it. Unless it's just we're more used to using telehandlers. But it's definitely a nifty little bit of kit. With the sugar beet wagon leaving. I know I said this the other day about Andrew's little JCB. It's one of them machines that once you've driven it, you never realise you needed one. So you get off it. Well, this is exactly the same, if not a bit better, because it's got a bit more reach. It's a bit more user-friendly, and it lifts a bit more. So I'm really impressed with it. But apparently Schaefer make one like Andrew's with a boom on the front, so we're going to try that as well. This was yesterday's quiz question. It is, a lot of people got it right, probably an easy one. It is a rear camera, and it's also got a side-mounted camera. So I'll go in the cab and I'll show you what they look like. So that's the rear camera, and that's the side camera. So you're actually quite blind when you look around and behind yourself. Whereas with the cameras there, you can see exactly what's behind and exactly what's the side here. And then obviously this side, it's easy to see. So, essential for health and safety, really. That's about all for today. Don't forget that send your guest outros for me, and I'll use them and give you a mention. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Oh yeah, and don't forget, have a guess how much you think that part is. That's today's quiz question, because you might be shocked tomorrow when I tell you how much it was. It's made by John Deere. Bit of a clue there.